안티포데안 됐다. 소리가 어떻게 나오지? 아, 소리가 어디 갔다. 여기로 나오지?
It's early evening on August 4th here in New Zealand at Rocket Lab's Mission Control Centre as we count down to the 5 p.m. local time launch of this national security mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. On your screen is a view of our Electron rocket vertical and ready on the pad at Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1 in Mahia on the East Coast. My name is Muriel Baker. Thank you for joining us for our 29th Electron launch to deploy the NROL-199 payload to orbit. Our first attempt at launching this Antipodean adventure for the NRO was stood down earlier this week due to strong winds, but with much more settled weather today through the launch countdown so far, we are on track for launch right at the top of the launch window, opening at 5 p.m. local time. That's 5 a.m. UTC and 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or 10 p.m. Pacific if you are joining us from that time zone. Today's NROL-199 mission is the NRO's fourth launch of the year and the second on Electron from Launch Complex 1. It's one of more than a half dozen launches planned by the NRO in 2022 to help provide 500,000 plus government users with intelligence information that enables them to protect the United States interests and support worldwide humanitarian efforts. Now at T-minus 12 minutes and 41 seconds and counting, shortly we'll be rolling into the final go, no-go poll for launch. Each flight controller that you can see on your screen there will be asked about their launch readiness by the launch director before we proceed to liftoff. Our launch director has about a dozen go, no-go reports in the poll, and at the end of the poll, the launch director will confirm whether or not we are go for liftoff. Let's bring up the mission control nets now to listen in.
This is the LD on mission, proceeding with the go, no-go sequence stage.
Stages go.
Avionics.
Avionics is go.
GNC.
GNC is go.
VCON.
VCON is go.
T1.
T1 is go.
GC.
GC is go.
PLS.
PLS is go.
RSO.
RSO is go.
MET.
MET is go.
MM.
MM is go.
SVMD.
SVMD go.
LD sub.
LD sub is go.
That concludes the go, no-go sequence. We are T-minus 11 minutes, 22 seconds and counting. We are go for terminal count at T-minus 10 minutes. From this time, the 3-word hold procedure is in effect.
So as you heard, at the conclusion of the go, no-go poll, we are moving forward with the launch of the NROL-199 mission in just over 10 minutes' time. Liftoff has been set for right at the top of the launch window today, but if we need to scrub for any reason, we have a 2-hour block to try again and recycle the count as we need. Otherwise, launch is possible again tomorrow if we need to. Today's mission is our second of 2 back-to-back launches for the NRO from Launch Complex 1. Around 3 weeks ago, on July 13th, we launched the NROL-162 mission from Pad A, achieving a flawless launch and payload deployment to deliver the satellite to orbit. Now, NROL-162 and 199 are the third and fourth missions awarded to us by the NRO under their rapid acquisition of a small rocket contract known as Razor. This approach allows the NRO to pursue the use of both large and small satellites to create a space architecture to provide global coverage to help answer a wide range of intelligence questions. The first 2 NRO missions to fly under Razor also launched on Electron in 2020 in a showcase of the NRO's capability to deploy missions from spaceports outside of the United States. It's great to be supporting the NRO once again with launches on Electron, this time from 2 separate pads at Launch Complex 1. NROL-199 will be our third launch from Pad B at LC1 in just over 5 months from when it was officially opened in late February. In fact, in just over the past 5 weeks, we have launched 3 missions from LC1. The first was the capstone mission to the moon from tonight's launch pad, Pad B, followed only 15 days later by NROL-162 from Pad A, and now NROL-199 from Pad B for tonight's launch. Having 2 launch pads, range assets, and mission integration facilities for our own exclusive use within the same spaceport makes back-to-back missions like our 2 NRO Razor launches possible. To start with, we can run concurrent campaigns at LC1 thanks to numerous clean rooms and plenty of room in the integration hangar for multiple rockets. 2 launch pads equal double the opportunity when we don't have to wait for a single pad to be refurbished between launches. And if customers' missions need extra time and attention, we can keep the rest of Electron's manifest on schedule by proceeding with the next launch. So even with just 1 pad at Launch Complex 1, Electron became the second most frequently flown US rocket annually. And with 2 pads at LC1 and our 3rd in Virginia expected to come online by the end of the year, we are excited to see what Electron can do with 3 pads across 2 continents for faster and reliable access to space. Today's launch will be our 29th Electron launch, but in the not-too-distant future, we will be taking to the skies with 8 different
자,
rockets.
달리십니까?
One that's more than
제가
twice
이제
as tall
확인했네요.
as Electron, more than 3 times its diameter, and capable of lifting more than 40 times the payload mass that Electron can lift. That's right, we are deep into the development of our large neutron rocket. Designed for larger payloads, constellation deployment, and even human spaceflight, Neutron is tailored to meet the ever-evolving needs of our customers. Neutron is a new breed of launch vehicle with reliability, reusability, and cost reduction hard-baked into the design from day one. Building on our extensive experience in developing and flying Electron, Neutron incorporates our best innovations of the past, like carbon composite structures, and marries them with cutting-edge technology and designs of the future, like our Hungry Hippo fairing design. Recently, we broke ground in Virginia on the production complex for Neutron, and work continues there at pace. The 250,000 square foot production complex is being built on a 28-acre site near the NASA Wallops Flight Facility and Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport on Virginia's eastern shore. Neutron's first pad will also be located there, close to the Launch Complex 2 pad for Electron. Right now, the Neutron team is scaling up, so if you want to be part of the team building the rocket of the future, visit our website to view the open roles now. And while we're on the topic of Neutron, don't forget to tune into our Neutron development update on September 21st to hear more about our development progress there. You can register to join that live webcast via our website. But for now, back to the mission on the pad, NROL-199. Let's check back in with the Mission Control Center for the
많은
latest.
발사 로켓체들을 지금 개발하고 있죠. 아마존의 뉴글랜, 그리고 스페이스X 스타쉽, 그리고 그 릴레이비티의 왜 난리야? 릴레이비티의 테란 R 이렇게 발사를 지금 개발을 좀 준비하고 있으니까요. 많은 많은 발전이 있을 거라고 생각이 듭니다. 지금 발사 5분 전입니다. 그리고 내일 드디어 아침에 드디어 우리 다누리 발사가 있죠. 저도 미리 준비를 해 놓겠습니다.
Every launch, before we roll out to the pad and get ready for the mission and, of course, ignition and liftoff of Electron, each Rutherford engine goes through a rigorous test campaign. Each of these engines, and in fact each of their components, go through extensive quality assurance tests at our propulsion test facilities. Each pump and motor controller goes through a flight-like acceptance test on our test rigs before they are assembled to a Rutherford. And then each engine must first pass a bench test before moving through 2 hot fire tests at one of our engine test cells. Finally, once the engines are assembled into the 9-engine configuration we call the power pack, the entire first stage and its engines are tested. We call this a stack test, and this process is in fact repeated for stage 1, stage 2, and the Curie engine module on our kick stage. Running our engines at least 3 times before launch is one of the many ways we drive mission assurance with Electron. Here's what our Stage 1 full stack engine test looks like.
트론 로켓 개발한다 그걸 보여주고 있는 것 같습니다. 지금.
So there you go. That's what 216,000 newtons of thrust looks like. And those engines will be
열심히
doing the
개발하고 있다.
majority of the
보여주고
heavy
있어요.
lifting as we approach
안녕하세요.
T0
지금
in just
로켓발사가
over 3
지금
minutes from
3분
now.
남았습니다.
So on that, we are very
행진기를
close to the
유튜브로 하고 있는데요.
terminal count for
위에
tonight's
유튜브 보셔도 되고 제
NROL-199
이야기만
launch.
들으셔도
Let's
상관없습니다.
hand it over to our launch director to
여기
take us through the
오셔가지고
final
반갑습니다.
reports from mission control operators and lead us
네,
into
어떤
the
로켓
10-second
발사냐면은
countdown
지금
to liftoff.
미국 정찰국하고 호주군에서
Computer
만든
as goes are green.
Confirm as goes.
정찰위성을 발사해줘요.
Beacon, lock out of
이제
sequence and confirm.
로켓네비라는 회사가 이제 발사해주는데 그제 이제 발사를 3번 시도했지만은 실패를 해가지고
All
오늘
operators,
이제
this is the LD on mission. We are go for auto sequence start at T-minus 2 minutes. LD is go
다시
for
이제
launch.
발사를 시도하고 있는데 굉장히 좋습니다. 그래서 아마 발사는 발사하는 데는 문제가 없을 것으로 예상이 되고 있어요. 지금 2분 26초 남았어요. 지금 2분 7초, 네, 2분대 남았고요. 네, 순조롭게 지금 발사 과정 진행되고 있습니다.
ABBs on internal power. AFDS is green and enabled for flight.
이번 미션명은 안티포데안 어드벤처 해가지고 그 미국하고 호주하고 이제 연합하고 해서 정찰위성 만든다. 지금 그걸 보여주고 있어요. 1분 40초 남았습니다. 자, 고가 이제 플라이트 고가 이제 선정이
Looks
됐기
like
때문에
complete system in
런치
recirculation.
오토 시퀀스 해가지고 이제 발사 자동 시스템이 지금 작동이 됐습니다. 그래서 모든 과정이 이제 자동으로 이제 작동이 될 겁니다. 자, 1분 10초대 남았어요.
Anti-gas ring disabled.
예, 로켓의 자동 카운트다운 시퀀스가 작동해서 자 모든 게 이제 작동했다라고 할 수 있습니다. 1분 50초 남았습니다.
Stage 1,
50초.
stage 2, that's for flight.
High flow engine purge enabled. Deluge is activated.
T-minus 20 seconds and counting. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6,
5,
4,
3, 2,
2,
1 발사
zero.
발사됐습니다.
and we have liftoff.
발사됐습니다. NRO에서도 바로 트윗이 올라왔습니다. 우리가 발사됐다, 발사가 시작됐다 이렇게
Beacon switching over.
네, 올라왔습니다. 네, 잘 올라가고
Stage
있고요.
1 proportional is nominal.
로켓랩은 그곧 보여주군요. 지금 201km대 올라갔고요. 야, 이제 조금만 있으면 이제 맥스 큐 최대 동압에 이제
TB discharge. looks
진입을
nominal.
하게 됩니다.
Entered burnout detect mode.
There we go. T plus 50 seconds into the NROL-199 mission on its Antipodean adventure.
다가오고
The
있습니다.
Electron's engines will soon
발사.
power down slightly
발사는
to prepare the
성공했고요.
rocket to pass through max Q, or the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure against Electron during launch.
자, 맥스 Q에 거의 진입을 했어요.
Cleared max Q.
야, 맥스 Q. 자, 최대 송압에 진입을 했습니다.
H1
성공했다고
propulsion is
이제
nominal.
박수를 치고 있어요. 예.
And Electron has passed through max Q, the rocket's first major test after leaving the pad at Launch Complex 1 on the coast. You see below there on your screen. Electron's 9 Rutherford engines are firing hot as they burn through the first stage's tanks of liquid oxygen and RP1 propellant. T plus 1 minute and 42 seconds, and Electron's trajectory is also looking good. The rocket is at now
모든 게
over
지금
30
정상적으로
kilometers above
작동하고 있다
Earth
지금 이야기를
and
하고
moving
있고요.
quickly at nearly 4,000 kilometers an hour.
네, 오늘 발사 성공했고요. 조금 있으면 이제 스테이징 해가지고 아마 단분리가 있을 겁니다.
10
일단하고
seconds to Miko.
네, 미코 이제 미코라고 해가지고 메인 엔진 컷오프가 이제 조금 있으면 이제 이루어질 겁니다.
Miko confirmed.
네, 미코 예, 내부 화면도 보이는데 네, 분리 성공했습니다. 1단부 분리 성공해서 박수를 치고 있습니다.
There you heard it and saw it on your screen. All three events happening back to back through MECO, stage separation and second stage engine start. Currently on your screen is
그러면
Electron's
이제
second
페어링
stage
분리가
continuing
있겠습니다.
nominally for the NROL-199 mission. Soon it will shed its payload protective fairing to lose the unnecessary weight now that the vehicle is in space. In fact, there it goes. We can see it falling away on our screen there.
Yeah,
So the
페어링
payload fairing
분리.
has split in half and fallen away. The NROL-199 payload is now exposed to space in preparation for payload deployment, and Electron's second stage is continuing to orbit, carrying the kick stage and the payload. Everything continues to look nominal, with the Rutherford engine glowing bright as it powers the mission on.
세퍼레이트 아니 페어링 세퍼레이션 해가지고 페어링 분리가 이제 있어야 되는데 자 페어링 분리됐습니다. 일렉트론 페어링 분리됐고요. 자 이제 2단계가 이제 작동을 하고 지금 2단계 작동하고 있죠. 네 페어링 분리까지 성공했습니다.
The burn of this engine lasts for about 7
노키님에서도
minutes
계속
to
지금
help
그
bring the
시간을 좀
payload
보내주고
closer to its
있고요.
final orbit before we have a second stage separation that enables our third stage, known as the kick stage, to carry on with the rest of the mission. Our kick stage is critical in delivering the NRO the exact orbital insertion they need for this national security payload. With its own reliable Curie engine,
그리고
our kick stage can be
오늘
maneuvered precisely to
베이징 시간
achieve
11시
pinpoint orbital
8분이니까
drop-off
12시
of the NRO's
8분에
payload. That payload
네
deployment is expected to
지구
take
생태계
place
탐소
around an hour
모니터링
from now.
그 위성이 그리고 기타 탑재를 배송된 그 태양 동기계도 성공적으로 보냈고 상정 시리즈 430번째 발사 임무에 성공했다. 그리고 상정 시리즈 발사체 100번째 연속 발사 성공이라고 나오고 있습니다. 중국도 대단합니다.
Stage 2 propulsion still nominal.
Look at that beautiful view from space. Everything is looking great so far on this
지구
Antipodean
곡선 공률이 잘
adventure.
나타난다.
Coming up to T
네,
plus
이야기를 하고
5 minutes
있고요.
and 9 seconds, and Electron's stage 2 engine continues to fire nominally along our expected trajectory, ready to deliver the NRO payload to space. We are about 1 minute away now from our next mission milestone, the swap of our rocket's batteries, providing electric power to the Stage 2 Rutherford engine you can see on your screen. So the Rutherford's electric fuel pumps use electricity rather than a pre-burner to operate. But once the batteries are drained, we don't need them anymore. They become unnecessary weight on the second stage, so they're discarded when we swap to a fresh new one that keeps the engine running. This is our battery hot swap event, which you can see about 3/4 of the way up the timeline on the left of your screen, and coming up shortly on the main screen, you should see that shiny silver object pop free.
Throttling down.
Approaching hot swap.
네, 불가 좋습니다.
Go right on time. We have had battery hot swap on the second stage. Confirmed
배터리가
across the
분리가
nets and
됐고요.
visually if you saw them falling away from the rocket on your screen there. We have had a clean run through mission milestones so far. It was only 7 or so minutes ago that Electron cleared the pad at LC1, having since completed successful passes through max Q, main engine cutoff, and stage separation to reach this point now in the mission. Next up will be the second stage engine shutdown and the final stage separation that will follow the same process as the earlier MECO and separation of these stages, the first and second stages. So right now, though, with Stage 2's engine still firing, the mission remains on its trajectory to orbit as expected, and all is going well for NROL-199.
FTS is saved.
그 배터리가 떨어져 나갔어요. 아까 그 배터리가
We are well past the common line now, traveling to this mission's destination in low Earth orbit. When we reach the end of this second stage burn and separate the kick stage, we'll drift along in an elliptical path around Earth before the kick stage's engine lights up and propels the mission into a circular orbit. That happens just moments before payload deployment and the end of the mission for Rocket Lab. From the ground to space and on-orbit operations within only an hour is pretty cool.
자, 그리고 킥 스테이지 2단 인부가 이제 떨어져 나갈
Okay, so in the
거예요.
next minute or so, we should reach the final acts of the second stage for this mission, the shutdown of its Rutherford engine, called SECO, before the kick stage separates and carries
킥
on with the
스테이지
payload.
세퍼레이션
We'll see the
지금
engine's
준비하고
nozzle
있습니다.
fade from bright red as it cools down, and from there we'll be ending the broadcast as the mission continues to its classified orbit.
SECO confirmed.
그러면 93번째겠네. 그러면 네, 킥 스테이지 떨어져 나갈게요.
Stage 3 separation.
킥 스테이지하고 이제 드디어 이제 그 의상하고 이제 분리가 됐죠.
There we go, that engine nozzle cooling off was the visual indicator, along with the confirmation from mission control that the second stage engine has shut down and the kick stage with the NRO payload has separated. There are still a couple of events to go on the third stage before payload deployment for the NRO. Our third stage will first complete that initial pass of Earth before it ignites to circularize its orbit and bring the payload to its drop-off point in space. That action will mark the end of the mission for Rocket Lab, but the start of the spacecraft's operation in space for the NRO, and we'll update you on payload deployment across our social media channels once it's confirmed.
네, 킥
It has been a
스테이지하고
busy few weeks at Rocket Lab with the launch of the
분리가
capstone mission to the moon only 5 weeks ago, on-orbit operations for that mission for the week following, and another mission for the
끝났어요.
NRO soon after that. Between Capstone and NROL-162
얘기하죠.
was our shortest turnaround yet at only 15 days, with only 22 days to get us to today's mission. Keep an eye on Rocket Lab's social media for confirmation again of that payload deployment and mission success for NROL-199. But from the whole team, a big thank you to the NRO for entrusting us with the back-to-back missions for both 162 and 199. And thanks to you at home for joining us on our 29th Electron launch. We'll see you back here soon. This is Rocket Lab Mission Control signing off.
감사합니다. 자, 저도 이거 마치고요. 7월 달에 아니 7월이야. 7시에 또 ULA의 위성 발사를 또 찾아뵙겠습니다. 지금까지 봐주신 분 모두 감사를 드립니다.